ahead and get started with the presentation. So we'll start real quick with kind of an overview of the market here. This is going to kind of paint the picture where the products that we represent kind of fit into the larger scheme of things in the ERP world. Those of you who may have joined us previously on webinars, this slide will look a little familiar to you. So I like to segment the market really into kind of 4 categories here. So you have the entry-level space. This is really just core accounting applications, into a QuickBooks, Sage 50, Sage 1, Xero, a couple other players there. Typically low-cost items. You can get into them for under 10 grand, sometimes even under $1,000, and that's even with implementation services. Then you get into what I call the small and medium-sized business ERP market. If your company has between 5 and 50 users, this is going to be probably the space you're looking. These are some of the leading products in this segment. The ones that are boxed in, that are in red, are the products that we represent. And I want to talk a little bit about why I put them in this category. Sage 100 is Sage's next logical step from a company that's on Sage 50 or QuickBooks. Been around a long, long time, proven product, excellent solution, lots of products out there on the market that integrate with Sage 100, lots of options we'll talk about later on deployment. Sage 500 is a product been around a long time, still out there. We're still doing a lot of work with Sage 500. May not be a primary focus of us going forward, but certainly have a number of customers on that platform. So it is another option out there for you. Now the bottom 2 here, Epicor and Sage X3, these are products that are a little bit different, because if you look over to the right, you'll see that I also put them in that small and medium-sized enterprise category. The reason for this is because just recently both vendors, both Epicor and Sage, have introduced some pretty attractive pricing options and packaging options to get us down to where a smaller company coming off of QuickBooks could really implement their solutions, which traditionally have been a lot more complex. With Epicor, they have Epicor Express, which is kind of a canned, hosted application, streamlined implementation. Sage X3 has the same thing. They have a standard edition, which is really, I don't want to say cookie cutter, but it's really streamlined and extremely affordable, gives you a lot of functionality, kind of the next step up from a QuickBooks. So I want to just make sure everybody understands here, you're coming off one of these entry-level products. We got 4 products here in the SMB space that you may want to take a look at. Now, if you get a little bit bigger, you're in that 20 to 1,000 user range. The 2 products that we're really going to focus on are Epicor and X3. The reason for that is they're both very scalable, very deep applications throughout. They're a little bit different, but as you're going to see in the presentation today, they also have a lot of similarities. So it's going to give you a little choice on which product may be the better fit for you. Sometimes it's simply personal preference. Okay. Those products, they fit real well with companies that have between 20 and 1,000 users. They can go up higher than 1,000 users, but really that's kind of the sweet spot for these applications. The other thing, before we move on from this slide, I want to talk about price a little bit. SMB space, you're looking at a total investment. I'm talking software license, consulting, implementation, somewhere between that $10,000 and $100,000 range. Now, it may not sound like a lot to some of you. It may sound like a lot to others on the call today. But I'm going to tell you, if you're going to implement an ERP solution, a true ERP solution, and certainly these are, you're going to want to make an investment to ensure that you're successful with that. Otherwise, it's just a waste of money. You get into that SME space, you're probably looking at around the $100,000 to $1 million mark. Certainly maybe a little bit lower than that in some cases, probably not much more than that. So without further ado, let's move on a little bit. I'm going to have a lot of charts in here. It was probably the best way to do a little comparison. Talk a little bit about technology and deployment for the 4 products we're looking at today. From a database standpoint, they all support Microsoft SQL Server. There is one exception there with Sage X3. You also have the option of using an Oracle database. Sometimes, again, that's personal preference. There may be some performance or other considerations to be given there. From a deployment standpoint, We got two of them over on the right that are available either installed on-premise on your servers, you host them in a hosted environment, or in a software as a service environment, which is a little different, right? That's a cloud application available as multi-tenant or single-tenant, and it is truly a cloud deployment. Okay, and that's with the X3 and the Epicor product. Sage 100 is available premise or hosted, not available in the true SaaS deployment. And the Sage 500 can either be premise or hosted. Get into licensing. How am I going to actually pay for this software? With Sage 100, you've got the ability to buy it outright, and then you pay an annual maintenance support plan, client care plan, business care plan, whatever they call it these days. You can also subscribe to it, so it'll be a lower cost per month, but long term, if you're going to keep the product over 3, 4, 5 years, you're probably better off buying it. With Sage 500, most of the customers are buying it on a purchase, perpetual user license, with a maintenance support plan on that. And then X3 and Epicor are both available either for purchase or also through a subscription. All right, we're going to walk through a number of different feature comparisons, and I'm keeping this as high level as possible because we could spend literally days drilling into every minute detail of the ERP packages here. From a general business perspective, if you're looking for applications to support multiple companies, we got them. They all have it. Multi-plant, we've got 3 of them. We got Sage 500, X3, and Epicor. Multi-currency, there is a third party available for Sage 100. Both 500, X3, and Epicor support that natively. Languages, if you're working only in U.S. English, then you're going to be restricted to really Sage 100 or 500. I guess X3 and Epicor do as well. But if you have any other multilingual requirements, you're going to be looking at X3 or Epicor. Your multi-plant, multi-facility, you maybe have somebody that speaks Spanish as a second language. They prefer to work in that language. X3 and Epicor are both multilingual. X3, the last I checked, were available in 12 different languages, the more popular languages available in the world, and Epicor supports 30. All of these applications have some form of an asset management solution available. All of them have document management capabilities through an OEM or private label agreement, so they're very tightly integrated. Human capital and payroll available for everything, same with workflow, same with kind of core business intelligence and dashboards. Okay, so not a whole lot of differences here from a general business perspective. Financials, pretty much that is what ERP is all about. So all the products we represent have a general ledger, payables, receivables, cash management, or bank rec, budgeting capabilities. Get into some of the more specialized functionality like credit collections with Sage 100, 500, and Epicor. They're either a third party or an OEM. That's actually a product we built called Anytime Collect, also private labeled as Epicor Cash Collect. And Sage X3 actually has quite a bit of in-product credit and collections functionality. I believe our Anytime Collect product takes it that next level. So there's actually a couple options there for you. Credit card and ACH. All the products have that available with Sage. It's Sage Payments, and with Epicor, they have a couple different relationships through OEM and private label relationships. Distribution and service, I've kind of lumped all of this into one group here. Inventory management, they all have it. Warehouse management, they'll have pieces of it, with Sage 100 and 500. But in a lot of cases, you want the more advanced warehouse management functionality. With 100 and 500, you're going to be looking at a third party. There's certainly many of them out there in the market to choose from. With X3, they have it in the box. Same thing with Epicor. Shipping and receiving, all the products have different levels of shipping and receiving in the core products. There are also a number of OEMs, private labels, and third-party products available to extend shipping and receiving capabilities. Sales order and purchase order and procurement, all of that's available out of the box. For the most part, they're very similar. Some of the products have some specialties, but for the most part, order management's order management. From a CRM perspective, Sage has a Sage CRM, which they embed very tightly integrated with Sage 100. That product is also available for Sage 500, but it does require a third-party integration piece called Gumu. With Sage X3, they have CRM in the box, kind of tightly integrated within the application. Same thing with Epicor. Sales forecasting. There are a number of products available out there on the market. Many of them do integrate with these four solutions. In most cases, from a sales forecasting standpoint, the publishers have chosen to partner and private label an application. You get into like the Sage world, you've got Inventory Advisor, which they may have acquired. To be honest, I can't remember if that's an OEM or if it's an acquisition. And then on the Epicor side, they've got integrations to Forecast Pro, Smart Forecast, and a couple others. E-commerce, number of third-party products available for Sage 100 and 500. Same holds true for X3. And Epicor just recently announced Epicor, I think they call it Commerce Connect, which is kind of an in-the-box e-commerce solution. EDI, there are literally dozens of solutions available out there in the ISV community for the Sage products. And on the Epicor product, they have a single product they recommend. Project management, every one of them have some element of project management, with the exception of Sage 100. We do have a job cost module, which is kind of a little light, but can work here. But there are some third-party options available there. Field service and depot repair, there's, I think, 2 or 3 solutions available for Sage 100. Kind of at the lower end of the market, we tend to recommend Job Ops, really nice product. Sage 500, a company called Single Source, is available out there. Sage X3 actually has pretty good field service right out of the box with a depot repair. Same thing with Epicor. You get into some vertical functionality with rental management. There's a vertical solution provider called Automated Rental Management for Sage 100. There's nothing available for Sage 500 that we've been able to find, and we've been working in this space for quite a while. X3 has some rental management capabilities, be an option for you to consider. And at this point in time, there's nothing available for rental within the Epicor ERP space. All right, manufacturing. This is kind of our forte here at E2B. This is what we live, eat, breathe, and sleep. And there's some differences here. So every one of these products does a pretty good job with kind of discrete manufacturing. You got a bill of material, a router, work orders, job management, material planning. You know, Sage 100, 500, X3, and Epicor all have that. Advanced planning and scheduling, there is a third-party product available for Sage 100. With 500, they have an embedded solution. It's kind of light. Most companies go to a third party there. X3 and Epicor have some pretty good functionality here when it comes to APS solutions. You get into shop floor reporting, shop floor management, manufacturing execution systems. I was kind of surprised there is a solution available for Sage 100. Hadn't really heard anything in that space. It's typically a lower-end customer, so you don't have a lot of requirements around that, but there is something available there. 500 has a fairly light shop floor solution available. And then X3 and Epicor, they've got really kind of the next step up, a lot more functionality when it comes to shop floor reporting, even integration back into the machinery and equipment on the floor. Manufacturing estimating, this is a little different. So you get into like a job shop type environment where companies are creating estimates and they need to look at the routing and labor and bill of material standards, and they're going to amortize over multiple quantities to get a manufacturing estimate. Nothing like that exists for Sage 100. I haven't seen anything on the X3 side for that, but it's really not a space X3 plays in that job shop make-to-order space. 500 has this. It's kind of a throwback to our early days in the job shop market, and Epicor does have that functionality as well. You get into product configuration. There is a third-party product configurator available for Sage 100. They do have some very light kind of product configuration within the product itself. It's an option bill of material. Sage 500 has a product configurator within it. works for some companies, but it has some limitations. You get into X3 and Epicor, and you've got kind of a best-of-breed approach here. You've got some really solid functionality when it comes to product configuration. Engineering change orders, engineering change notifications, product lifecycle management. There's really nothing out there on the Sage 100 side. With Sage 500, there are some third parties available. We actually built one of them. With X3, there is a PLM solution available through the ISV network that looks like it's a pretty good solution. And on the Epicor side, they do have ECNs and PLM built into the product. Now you start to get into some specialized functionality here, especially in the process world. Recipe and formula management, completely, totally different than routing and bill of material. And there's nothing really to speak of when it comes to Sage 100. With Sage 500, there is a third-party product, Escape Velocity Systems 02. They have a vertical they've written there. X3, this is where X3 plays really, really well. Anything around process manufacturing is going to be a slam dunk fit. Probably one of the leaders out there with a modern technology base behind it. There's other solutions available for process, but most of them are legacy, running on some really ugly old code. Epicor really does not play in this space at all. They're traditionally a discrete manufacturing solution. So you get into true process, and that's not going to be a product we're going to recommend for you. Quality assurance, there's nothing available there for Sage 100. There's a third party. It's actually us again. We developed for Sage 500. If you're looking for embedded quality assurance, Sage X3, solid, top-down, discrete, or process. Epicor has some core functionality there as well. They also have a OEM relationship with, I think the company's called IQS for advanced quality. Preventative maintenance, there are third-party solutions available for Sage 100, 500, and X3. So if you need to maintain your facilities, your machinery, and equipment, there are solutions available. They all look like they're pretty solid. Epicor does have a PM solution available out of the box. Rows and we management, you get this in high-tech, electronics, electrical. You have compliance requirements there. The only two solutions we represent that would be an option in that space would be Sage X3 and Epicor. They're both very comparable. Allergens reporting, and really anything around the food industry and compliance, you're going to be wanting to look at Sage X3 there. Batch yield, again, more of a process requirement. We've got stuff there with 500 with the Escape Velocity product, but you're probably going to be best served by looking at X3. And nothing there for Epicor on that side. So if we exclude all the commonalities, all the feature functions that every one of the products had, and we take out the third-party products because, let's face it, who really cares at the end of the day as long as you have a solution and it's available and integrated and it works? All things being equal, we'll take those out. And the private label and OEMs, what are the real deltas between these four products? And this is really the summary of where we're at. So kind of review here, multi-plant, we've got three solutions that might fit your needs there. Multilingual, we've got two that are really strong options. Project management, really kind of across the board, you can kind of pick there. Rental management, we got two here. Manufacturing estimates, you've got two options. ECOs, you've got three options. Recipe formula management, maybe 1, 2. Really, you get in that, again, that process space. We're going to push you real hard on X3. Let's talk a little bit about industry fit. This is across the board, and I'm going to kind of walk you through why we feel these products are a fit in these industries, because some of these are traditionally not associated with the different ERPs. Accounting and finance. You're looking for just the GLAPAR solution on a solid technology. Pick one. They're all going to have a little bit different functionality, a little deeper in some areas, a little lighter in others. But all four of the products, we would do a discovery with you, understand what your requirements are, and then pick which one is going to be the better fit. But you have a lot of choices here. If you're a bank or a credit union, you probably have some more advanced requirements. You're probably using a line of business application for treasury and portfolio management, but maybe those applications don't have a strong back-end accounting. If you need that, look at X3 and Epicor. These are both pretty good products, really solid on the financial side, and we can work with you to integrate either of those solutions into those line of business applications for that industry. Healthcare and senior living, Sage 100 doesn't really have a strong suit there, but they do certainly have a lot of customers in that space, probably because it's so affordable and so simple. So you're probably looking at a smaller healthcare facility there. X3 and Epicor are both excellent products. Again, they don't do necessarily the line of business for managing the patients and all that jazz, but from a back-end financial perspective, reporting, business intelligence, they're going to be solutions you might want to take a look at. HVAC and plumbing, you get into a lot of kind of field service related requirements, some heavier distribution requirements. There's actually a vertical solution out there for Sage 100, so that's probably where we're going to lead. Plus, most of those companies tend to be a little bit smaller. But 500, X3, and Epicor would all be solutions you may want to take a look at as well. Nonprofit and membership, any of these accounting systems can be set up to handle some basic fund accounting. You get into specialization like grant management, fundraising. You may be looking at doing some integration work. None of these are truly nonprofit facing, but they all have advantages for companies that maybe can't find what they're looking for from a financial perspective on the market for NFP solutions. Take a look at 100, take a look at X3 and Epicor, and see how they're going to fit your needs. Because I think you're going to be surprised, even though they're not designed for nonprofit or membership, they can do quite a bit. Oil, gas, and mining. These tend to be larger companies, so X3 and Epicor are going to be pretty good fits here. Really, I think X3 is probably maybe a little stronger in this segment. There's a vertical solution available out there for oil, gas, and mining. They have a ton of customers, actually globally, in this space. Packaging services, company that do contract packaging. You're probably going to be, again, looking at X3 and Epicor. You get into things like unit to measure conversions, and the lower end solutions tend to fall apart pretty quick. Private schools. So you get into a public school, college, university. There's typically some pretty good products out there on the market. You're not going to be looking at a general ERP application. But you get into a private school world, and your financials tend to be a little bit different. Sage 100 is pretty good for those smaller schools, Christian academies, boarding schools, charter schools, Jewish schools, you name it. Get a little bit bigger, there's certainly a lot of them out there. You're going to need a really solid back-end accounting system. X3 and Epicor are the two products you should probably take a look at there. All right, so we're down to professional services. Sage 100 out of the box doesn't really have much, but the third-party community has some pretty solid solutions. There are some solutions available for 500, X3, and Epicor. But if you're truly a professional service organization and you have project accounting requirements, milestone billing, resource management requirements, they may or may not meet your needs. Certainly we could take a look for those industry segments. Rental management, and I apologize, X3, there should actually be a dark bullet. X3 and Sage 100 are really our go-to products there, depending on the size and complexity of your rental business. Retail point of sale. If you are a pure play retailer, Sage 100 is going to be your product because it's a lower end solution. It's not going to be as complex. If you're a distributor, a service company, a rental company, a manufacturer, and you happen to have an element of retail to your business, then all three of the products have that available. You get into repair services. Sage 100, it's going to require the job ops module from Synergistic Solutions, but real nice on the repair side. Sage 500, you'll need single source. X3 and Epicor are out of the box. Sports and entertainment, could be ice skating rinks to minor league baseball teams. Could be cinemas to golf clubs, yacht clubs, you name it. That industry, you're really looking at core financials, maybe tied into a line of business to manage your members or reservations. And at the small end, you're going to be looking at Sage 100, pretty good fit. Higher end, both X3 and Epicor will do a job for you. Transportation and logistics, Sage 100 just for the small companies. X3 and Epicor have some pretty sophisticated transportation logistics capabilities, whether that's a manufacturer distributor that has those requirements or a true transportation and logistics organization. So those would be the two go-to products we lead with there. Wholesale distribution, pure play distributor, really no manufacturing, maybe light manufacturing. Sage 100 on the really low end. 500 is pretty solid, but our go-to product there is going to be X3 without a doubt. Epicor ERP may be an option depending on what you're looking at. Epicor does tend to have some other products they position. In wholesale distribution, we do not represent them. So if you are a distributor, you're looking for a solution, and we identify that none of the ones that we have will work, we will make recommendations to others. At the end of the day, we try to do what's right for the customer. Discrete manufacturing, overall industry fit here. Aerospace and defense got a lot of requirements around milestone billing. Just really a lot of reporting requirements. Epicor does a really fine job here. X3 is a pretty good solution too, but I got to give the edge here to Epicor. Apparel and textile, you get into things like pricing matrices. It's very specialized. Sizing, color. You can do a little bit of that with a product configurator, where X3, Epicor, 500 might be a fit. But there's a vertical solution available for 100, so that's probably where we push you to start your search. Automotive and repetitive. You're getting into things like cumulative forecasts. You're getting into program management. You're getting into bidirectional material planning. You've got requirements for 830 inbound EDI forecasts. You've got 862 line sequencing with EDI. Epicor is a pretty good fit here. Okay. Now, I'm not going to say the others aren't. There are customers that are in automotive and repetitive in 100, 500, and X3. X3 is probably a little stronger if you're an automotive distributor as opposed to manufacturer, but we would certainly have you take a look at both products there. Capital equipment and machinery, you get a lot of product configuration, very large, indented, deep bills of material. Scheduling becomes a key requirement. MRPs sometimes a little bit difficult. X3 and Epicor are going to be our go-to products there. Furniture and fixtures, you're going to be looking at 100 on the low end. X3 and Epicor both good fits there. High-tech electronics, we'll push you to take a look at X3 and Epicor. Really, really solid. They have just an excellent solution for that industry segment. Metal fabrication, industrial fabrication, pretty good fit across the board. Kind of take your pick depending on what you're looking for. Job shop, make to order is more of a traditional job shop market. Where you're not really making the stock. You have very little inventory on hand. Sage 100, they got the job ops product. That's what it's designed for. Somebody to get the edge there. Epicor came out of that space with DataWorks years ago, DCD back in the day. So I'm going to give them a little edge there, but certainly X3 and 500 can fit depending on your requirements. Lumber and wood, I'm going to lean more to the right here. Lumber and wood, you get into things like lot attributes. You're going to have grades on your lumber. You're going to have dimensional inventory requirements. X3 might have a little edge there. Epicor, maybe in some other areas, might have an edge. Sage 100 for the smaller companies. Medical device, very specific industry segment. You've got 21 CFR Part 11 compliance. and 100 and 500 really don't do it. There's some manual workarounds to make it fit. There certainly are companies that are med device that are using those products, but that's not where I would put you. X3's got it out of the box. It's a slam dunk. Same thing with Epicor. You get into non-metallic minerals, companies manufacturing products out of stone, clay, glass, or concrete. Low end, you got 100, probably going to be more so maybe a ready-mix type company there, heavy on distribution. Get into anything a little bit larger, maybe they're borderline into the mining industry. You're going to be looking at X3 and Epicor there. Plastics and rubber, depending on the requirements, any of these products could be a fit. You start getting into things like co-products, byproducts, multi-cavity dyes and molds, scheduling. You're going to be looking at X3 and Epicor. They're really going to be the only two products in our portfolio that will fit you there. Process manufacturing. This one goes solely to X3 if you're in chemical, paints, adhesives, consumer packaged goods, food and beverage, life science, pharmaceutical, nutraceutical, primary metals, some elements of paper, leather, petroleum. We're gonna have you take a look at X3 first because that's what it's designed for. At 500, again, we've got an option there with a third party. Epicor, in some cases, if it's not heavy on the process side, might be a fit. Stage 100, they have some of the smaller food and beverage customers and some of the smaller paper, leather, and petroleum companies. So here's the key takeaways, folks. Pretty much all the products available from Sage and Epicor that we've covered here today are pretty solid technology and accounting foundation across these industry segments. In general, there are very few differences. When you take into account the ability to add on products from the third-party community and OEMs, the real key differentiators are going to lie in scalability, which we looked at on that first slide. Smaller company, you're looking at 100, lower investment, lower complexity. You have more specific industry requirements, you're a large organization, multi-site, global, multilingual. You're going to be looking at X3 and Epicor. Sage and Epicor, I'll tell you this, they're both doing a pretty darn good job of keeping up with enhancements, adding new features and functions to the products. X3 is one of Sage's, if not the strategic product in the Sage portfolio. Epicor ERP is Epicor's strategic product. And Sage 100, it's a stalwart. It's been out there a long time, got a lot of customers on it, not going away anytime soon, and they continue to make some pretty significant investments in that platform as well. Now, with that said, there are some differences. There are some fundamental differences between all the products we looked at today. The devil is really in the details. You have to dig very, very deep into the products to truly understand those differences. And again, we can't cover those today. We invite you. We're doing a series of demonstrations next week. We'll talk about that here in a minute. Or if you want to look at the products, we'll cover some of those a little bit. But really it's going to require some detailed discovery for us to identify what your requirements are. Go back in, take a look at the products that we represent, find out which one's going to be the best fit for you. So what do we have coming up here? Kind of a recap first. We just covered recently what is ERP. We talked about the market landscape. Talked about ERP evaluation considerations. That was in a webinar we did yesterday. And then today we went through kind of the comparison of the products that we represent. All of these are going to be recorded or are recorded and posted to our YouTube channel. It is, I believe, a private link. So if you want to access them, you need to contact us, and we will send that to you. Next week, we are doing 3 presentations of Sage X3. It is going to be on December 14th from 1 to 3. Epicor ERP, we're doing a live demo on that next week as well on the 15th. Sage 100 with Job Ops, we're doing a demonstration on the 18th. If you want to find out where to register, just go to e2benterprise.com. There'll be under the About Us menu a news menu. Click on that, and you'll see the calendar there. Click on the calendar, and you can register for the webinars right there. We will also be sending out another invite just in case you did not get those already. So with that, we're going to go ahead and wrap up today with some Q&A. Go ahead again and put in any questions you might have into the Q&A panel. We'll go ahead and answer those. While we wait for the questions to come in, I just want to let you know I've got my contact information here on the screen. You can get a lot more information on our website at e2benterprise.com, including a lot of different resources for the products that we looked at. We have pages built out for each of those. There's a resource guide that has product brochures and links to videos, case studies, white papers. So just a lot of information out on the website. So let's see if we have any questions here. And I do have one. I have a couple here. What is the third-party option for field service and depot repair? That's for Sage 100. JobOps is probably the product that we would take a look at first. Kind of their slogan there was make, install, and service. They've got a depot repair and dispatch capability. They also have mobile solution available. There are a couple others. Drawing a blank as to the other product. It's something service, American Service Integrated, or it's ASI. Shoot me an email after this presentation, and I'll send you a link to those solutions available on the service side. And I think there might be a third one out there as well. And I'm not seeing any other questions. What I'm going to do is I'm going to hang out here on the GoToWebinar. If you have a question, go ahead and pop it in, or again, feel free to email me privately. And I'm the marketing guy, so if you guys want to take that next step, I'm going to put you in touch with somebody in sales. Don't worry, they don't bite. They're simply going to talk to you, understand your requirements, try to align you to the best product available for the best price. And at your own speed, they're going to show you what we got, find out if what we have is going to meet your needs. And if we do, we'll talk about a game plan to get you implemented. So with that, we're going to let you all go. And thank you again for taking time out. Realize we're all busy here today. And hopefully see you on the webinars next week. Take care and have a great weekend. Bye-bye.